As we all know, stand-up comedian, actor, and television host Bob Saget passed away on January 9th at the age of 65, just 4 months before his 66th birthday. First off, I'd just like to say that I'm sorry that I couldn't do the video of Bob Saget passing away back in January. I just had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life where I just couldn't get to it. Even though it's now April 30th as of today, as this video is being recorded, you know what? It may have been 4 months now since he passed away, but that's not going to stop me from doing a video about his passing. So I don't care. I still want to get this over with. He is known for his role as Danny Tanner on Full House and the Full House sequel, Fuller House. He was the original host of America's Funniest Home Videos from 1989 until 1997, and the voice of narrator Ted Mosby on How I Met Your Mother. Born Robert Lane Saget on May 17, 1956 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yeah, so his real name is Robert. They obviously called him Bob for short. Even though he was known for his adult-oriented stand-up comedy, he would also tell dirty jokes. During his 8 seasons on Full House, he was everyone's favorite TV dad of the 1990s. He was also on the short-lived show Raising Dad that ran only 1 season on WB. It starred him, Kat Dennings, yes, the same Kat Dennings who made it big as Max on Two Broke Girls, and Brie Larson. Saget had gone through a lot of family tragedy in his life. His sister Gay was diagnosed with scleroderma in 1994, and she died from that disease. Saget became a board member of the Scleroderma Research Foundation and worked tirelessly to raise awareness of the disease and much needed funds because Saget wanted to hopefully find a cure for scleroderma in honor of his late sister. And his wife says that she's going to carry on for her late husband to make sure that the Scleroderma Research Foundation continues as she takes over, and hopefully there'll be a cure for this disease, because that's what Saget wanted. Saget's other sister, Andrea, suffered a brain aneurysm in 1985. Saget also lost his twin brothers at birth. Saget's father, Benjamin, died in 2007 due to heart failure, and his mother died from abdominal cancer in 2014. So he died 8 years after his mother. This is what Bob Saget said. My parents have lost 4 kids, and we dealt with death and difficulty through odd, sick humor. My dad just ended up with a strange sense of humor, and I inherited it and took it to a professional level. He was able to use humor to help us survive. I like to joke that he touched a lot of people, and they're all pressing charges now. He went on to describe how his dad would tell jokes in order to make him feel better. Yeah, so Bob Saget wanted to make people laugh. Saget married his first wife, Sherry Kramer, in 1982. They have 3 daughters, and they were divorced in 1997. In 2018, he married his second wife, Kelly Rizzo, as they were married for 3 years. They never had children. Saget thought he would never find love again, but he did when Kelly came into his life. This year on January 9th, Saget was found unresponsive in his room. He had missed his scheduled checkout time, and family members were worried since he could not contact him. Emergency responders pronounced him deceased at the scene. We were not sure how Bob Saget died at the time. He was on a stand-up tour and performed the previous evening. The autopsy report was released on February 9th. Saget had a blunt head trauma from an accidental blow to the back of his head, likely from a fall. He died from the injuries in his sleep. At the time of his death, apparently, I guess he had COVID-19. He was positive for COVID-19, though there were no signs of inflammation. Yeah, it sucks that he ended up with a blunt head trauma. And I heard that if you happen to hit your head really hard and you happen to feel like dizzy or tired, they say you should never fall asleep. You should never ever fall asleep, because if you do, there is a big chance that you're not going to make it, that you'll possibly die in your sleep and you'll never wake up again. So apparently that's what happened to Bob Saget. You would think that maybe Bob Saget would have said something. He probably would have found somebody and told him that, I hit my head hard, I'm worried, and I'm feeling tired. But then again, maybe he hit his head hard so bad that he probably felt dizzy. He couldn't really, focus and concentrate what was going on, and it must have led him to be sleepy and just end up falling asleep, by accident. That could be it. Because if he didn't feel, dizzy and whatnot, and I'm sure he possibly would have said something. My thing is he probably was dizzy and he didn't know what was going on, and he just ended up falling asleep, unfortunately, where he never woke up. When I heard about his passing, I was shocked. I think it was hard for people to believe that. I'm sure people thought it was a joke. 5 days after his death, his funeral took place on January 14th. He is buried at the Mount Sinai Memorial Park Cemetery near the graves of his parents and sister Gay, I believe. People who attended his funeral were John Stamos, Dave Coulier, Candace Cameron Bure, Jodie Sweetin, the Olsen twins. Hey, Olsen twins, you guys still enjoying retirement? Good to see Mary-Kate and Ashley. Lori Loughlin, Jimmy Kimmel, and Dave Chappelle were all in attendance at his funeral. Here are some tweets from Saget's Full House cast. Dave Coulier said, "I'll never let go, brother. Love you." Dave Coulier shared never before seen photos of him and Saget. Coulier met Saget when he was 18, back when both were struggling stand-up comics. John Stamos said, "I am broken. I am gutted. I am in complete and utter shock. I will never ever have another friend like him. I love you so much, Bobby." Candace Cameron Bure says, "I don't know what to say. Broken heart emoji. I have no words. Bob was one of the best human beings I've ever known in my life. I loved him so much. This one hurts." Another broken heart emoji. Andrea Barber says, "He had the biggest heart of anyone in Hollywood. He gave the biggest hugs. I am gutted that I will never be able to hug him again. Bob ended every text, every interaction with 'love you.' Didn't matter how long or short we be apart. He loved so deeply and so fiercely. And he never hesitated to tell you just how much you meant to him. This is the greatest I've learned from Bob Saget. Don't hesitate to tell people you love. I feel at peace knowing that Bob knew exactly how much I adore him. Rest well, my dear friend. I have no doubt you are making everyone in heaven laugh until their cheeks hurt, just as you did here on earth." Heart emoji. Mary-Kate and Ashley, they said, "Bob was the most loving, compassionate, and generous man. We are deeply saddened that he is no longer with us, but know that he will continue to be by our side to guide us as gratefully as he always has. We are thinking of his daughters, wife, and family, and are sending our condolences." Lori Loughlin says, "Words cannot begin to express how devastated I am. Bob was more than my friend. He was my family. I will miss his kind heart and quick wit. Thank you for a lifetime of wonderful memories and laughter. I love you, Bobby." Blake Toomey Wilhoy, one of Jesse and Becky's twins, he says, "I'm speechless. We kept running into each other unexpectedly, always followed by some sarcasm or a silly joke. You never know when you will see someone for the last time. You'll be missed dearly by me and by the world. Rest in peace, Uncle Tanner." I haven't seen a tweet from Dylan, but I'm sure Dylan was hurt about Bob Saget's death, obviously. So Scott Weiner, he says, "Bob Saget was more than a friend. He was a big brother. Nobody ever made me laugh harder, the kind of laughter where your ribs are sore the next day. He was also a wonderful human being who never missed a chance to say I love you to the people he cared about. I feel bad for Bob's wife, Kelly, especially when she was speaking out after his passing in interviews on Access Hollywood, ABC News, and Today on NBC. I was like, oh wow, she's all over the place in the news. Why they have her on so many platforms? Why they have her on so many networks talking about his passing? Oh well.
We had an interview with Mike Young, who's a comedian and dear friend of Bob's. He said something, Kel, that struck me. He said most comedians, after a stand-up gig, they catch the last flight home. He said, not Bob. Bob wanted to catch the first flight home. He wanted to be with you, Kelly, and he said that their love was perfect.
Yeah, sorry. That was what was always so special. Is every time he would be out of town, he would always try to. He would work so hard, and he'd love to sleep in, but when he was away, he would always try to. He would still wake up at, go to bed at 2 and then wake up at 4 so he could be on the 6 a.m. flight, so we could come home just so we could spend time together. So, he valued every single second that we had together. So that's why it's, this is so heartbreaking. But at the same time, I know that we, every second that we had together was just maximized to the fullest, and we absolutely just, there was nothing, left unsaid and nothing left on the table. So those are the things that I'm just trying to hold on to.
He just wanted to spread love and laughter, and he did it so amazingly, and I'm just so proud of him because he truly brought people together. And I mean, he was just so wonderful. I was just so honored to be his wife and to be able to be a part of it and bring him any bit of happiness that I could, because he deserved it so much.
And then I guess this came out before he passed away, but even after he passed away, apparently there's some stuff out talking about Bob Saget was probably a pedophile rapist. And I guess they were saying that he was accused of sexually assaulting Mary-Kate Ashley. Now, unless there's actual evidence of sexually assaulting the Olsen twins, I'm not buying it. It's probably just some bull crap that they have out released just to try to make people think that Bob Saget was truly not a good person and he was up to no good. Unless I see actual proof, I'm not buying that. And why would they do that even when the man, after he passes away, despite it still coming out when he was still alive? Like, that's ridiculous. And besides, I'm sure Mary-Kate and Ashley would have came out by now and would have said that he raped them. I'm sure they would have said something by now. But then, some people probably thinking, oh, well, maybe they kept it quiet. Maybe they tried to say something, but they couldn't. Yeah, okay, that could be it. But I don't know. I think Mary-Kate and Ashley would be those types of people who would come out and say something by now. And then 4 days before his death, Bob Saget was on his podcast called Real Radio Monsters. He happened to have talked about Betty White, saying that he loved Betty White. And one of the guys were talking about Bob living until like 99 years old, like Betty White. He was saying like he was the male Betty White, and he actually met Betty White. They met before, and they were like having Bloody Marys. That was cool that him and Betty White met each other. It's just weird. Betty White died on December 31st, New Year's Eve. And then all of a sudden, 9 days later, who would have thought that Bob Saget would have passed away 9 days after Betty White? Especially when Bob Saget, paid a tribute to Betty White. It's like, what the heck? That's just so weird, I mean, Betty White, unfortunately, didn't see 2022. She was almost there. She just had one more day to see 2022. But unfortunately, she didn't make it. At least Bob Saget made it to 2022. He saw 2022, but he was only around for the first 9 days of the new year. He was only still around with us for 9 days in the month of January until he died on the 9th of the new year, unfortunately. 65, that's still young. Bob has so much more to do and so much to continue. I know everybody out there thought that he had more years to go and he was still going to continue doing what he was doing. It's still hard to believe that the man is gone. If he didn't hit his head so hard, likely from a fall, he obviously would still be here to this day. I'm just glad that he was able to, be a part of the sequel for Fuller House. At least it luckily ended almost 2 years ago before he passed away. Isn't that something? Fuller House just ended almost 2 years ago and Bob Saget's already gone. His Full House cast members, they're going to still keep him alive. And then I heard Dave Coulier, he was thinking about another Full House spinoff. He was thinking like a Full House spinoff to happen. Because I guess he wants to get with the Full House cast once again. He's talking about, hey, we was on ABC. Let's go ABC. So, I don't know. I guess that might happen. I don't know. But then again, some people probably don't want a Full House spinoff because it'll be hard to not have Bob Saget not around to be Danny Tanner. So I haven't heard any tweets from the kids of Fuller House, but I'm sure they're unfortunately sad that Bob Saget passed away. Their TV grandfather passed away. I mean, I know the kid that plays Tommy, I know he not gonna respond. He's just a little kid, so, but still. And I'm sure that ever since Bob Saget passed away, I'm sure that it's been hard for some of you guys to watch Full House and Fuller House, knowing that he's gone. Rest in peace, Bob Saget. You're missed. Thank you for making people laugh during your time here on this planet and being TV's favorite dad, Danny Tanner on Full House and Fuller House. Thanks for your legacy and the memories. And tell me where you were when you heard the sad news that Bob Saget passed away on January 9th. And how shocked were you? Jody Sweeten, she says, there aren't enough words to express what I'm feeling today, nor are they big enough to capture even a slice of who he was. One thing I do know is that we never missed a chance to tell each other, I love you. Every time we talked, there were at least 3 or 4 exchanged at the end of a conversation, whether it was text, phone, call, or in person. And he usually had to have the last word, I love you more. Wow, she has a lot to say. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Sorry, Jody. It's just that I'm not trying to make the video too long. That's all. Sorry.